sometimes we actually need to create for ourselves a mental construct of the vision, of the possibility that's available before we actually it becomes actually fully accessible to us.
Go to our website, which is HebrewLearningCircles.org. Go to Jewish Resources, scroll down to Parsha Videos, and you'll find the source sheet right there.
Hello, everybody. Here we are with Parsha and Chassidut. Today, a special treat. This is a teaching by the Sefat Emet for Pesach about the Haggadah, and we're going to jump right in. So, in the Haggadah, we read, in every generation, a person is obligated to experience him or herself as if he or she have left Egypt. And the question here is, what does that mean? Here's the Hebrew. Bechol dor vador, chayav adam lirot et atzmo, keilu hu yatsa mimitzrayim. And in the source sheet, which you are welcome to look up on our website, you will also see that there's another section of the Haggadah that we read shortly after, Lo et avotenu bilvad, Gaal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Holy One did not redeem only our ancestors alone, Ela af otanu Gaal imahem, but also we, us, did the Holy One redeem together with him. And there's a proof text for that from the book of Deuteronomy. You see a repeated idea about the crucial, the importance of experiencing the Passover Seder, or the holiday, as if we too had been there, had left Egypt together with our ancestors. The Sefat Emet will ask, what does it mean spiritually that we are obligated? The Hebrew literally says a person is obligated to experience this as if he or she were there, to experience the Exodus personally. Also, what is the power of taking a leap of faith? And we're going to see in a moment, as we read this Sefat Emet, we'll see how faith plays into all this. And here's the Sefat Emet. Bechol dor vador, chayav adam lirot et atzmo v'chulei. So he starts by quoting this sentence from the Haggadah. In every generation, a person is obligated to experience him or herself, etc. V'achar kach amar ve'otanu hotzi. And then later it says that the Holy One has taken us out. First, let's pay attention here to the difference between those two sentences. Same idea, but the first is each person, and then meaning in the singular. And the second sentence is referring to the same experience, but in the plural, us. So the people. ונראה כי על ידי אמונה, and it seems that we're being asked to experience this through faith. שיש יציאת מצרים לכל דור ודור, that there is a coming out of Egypt that's available at every generation. The way we can come to understand this or come to experience this is through a leap of faith, he says. And he brings a proof text for support from the Maharal. And the Maharal katav ki bechlal haya kol echad b'yitziat Mitzrayim. And the Maharal wrote in his commentary on the Haggadah that as a matter of principle, we accept that each person participated in the Exodus from Egypt. But a person should see it as if it was his or her personal experience. So what's the distinction here? That there is a general notion that we as a people have all experienced this, but what the Haggadah is asking us is to personalize it, to see how that works through our personal experience. What does it mean for us? Yesh lomar gam ken, kanal, and we can also say that, as mentioned above, shel yidei emunah nichnas letoch haklal, that through faith, a leap of faith, one can enter this principle, this understanding of re-experiencing Exodus. Ubevadai bachlal haya yetziat Mitzrayim lenekuda ha-Yisraelit. And surely this principle includes the idea that there was a Exodus from Egypt for the point in the soul of each person from Israel. So he's pointing to a deeper level of consciousness where the leaving Egypt is not only a physical liberation, but it's also an internal dynamic that's at the core of the Jewish soul. Shemisham nimshach chaim lekol ish Israel. And he's going to take this even further, that from this point of inner exodus, there's an extension of life or life force to each person of Israel. Rak al yedei emunah ba'in lezeh. But one can connect with that only through a leap of faith. Just to stop here for a moment and try to summarize where he is going with this, is that the Haggadah and the Sefat Emet and the Ramchal are talking about an internalization of what looks like a political event of freedom, right, from slavery to freedom, that translates also internally in the internal dynamics of the soul, but it's not readily available. One needs a leap of faith in order to plug into that. ואחר זה, שרואה כאילו יצא, and after this leap of faith, when a person sees that he or she are at this place of consciousness as if they have experienced the Exodus, v'yodea u'ma'amin, and a person knows means that knowing that's beyond words, and believes, knows and takes it for reality, for objective reality, כי גם ההערה שיש לו, that even the insight, the epiphany that one has would not have been available if not for the Exodus from Egypt. על ידי זה נתגלה לו שרואה איך Yotzeh Be'emet. And through this, it is revealed to him or her that he or she can see the way out in truth. The way out in truth, the way out from what? In truth. In what truth? What do you think? To me, the way I read this is that there's an inner liberation, an inner evolution that is available for each one of us to be liberated from the inner shackles, from the soul print and the personality print that holds us from being fully liberated, from being fully who we are by destiny, by created in the divine image, etc. There's something of a compromised fullness that you and I know well, breaking through the habits, the hardships, the places where we're not whole, the places that need to be healed. וכן הפירוש בסיפור יציאת מצרים, אפילו כולנו חכמים וכולי. And this is what it means when we tell the story of the Exodus from Egypt, and we say, even if we're all wise, and even if we're all learned, we have not understood the meaning of liberation until we left Egypt. Because even if a person is learned, evolved, right? A chacham means a wise person, and is fully present and attached to the living God. Yesh lo leida, a person should be aware that all this wisdom, all this ability to evolve as a human being has been granted through the historical act of the leaving of Egypt. She'emet ken, because the truth is, rak shetzarich levarer ze al yedei emunah, that one can only clarify and evolve into this inner liberation through a leap of faith. This is why the story is told in the language of clarification and revelation. מפורשת, כי בכל דור יש יציאת מצרים. And one comes to learn, to understand that every generation has its own experience of leaving of Egypt, quote unquote, leaving that which is represented by Egypt, a narrow place, לפי עניין הדור, according to what any generation needs for its own evolution. וכל זה היה בשעת יציאת מצרים. And all this has been made available during the Exodus from Egypt. וכפי אמונת האדם, כאילו יצא, and in accordance with the degree of faith that a person has, or the experience that a person has, that he or she have experienced that event of coming out of Egypt, so that aspect, that potential, becomes more revealed. ומרגיש מיציאת מצרים של עתה. And then a person can actually tune into the liberation from Egypt of the now. ויוכל לצאת כל אחד ממיצר שלו. And each person would then be able to be liberated from their personal constriction. Mitzrayim means narrow place, Meitzal means constriction. So Mitzrayim is a place of narrowness, of constriction, and so is our lives. the commentary goes on. I'm going to actually end it here. So what is this subtle and a little bit complex dynamic that the Sefat Emet is talking about here? What does it mean to have a leap of faith in one's potential to have a private experience, a personal experience of liberation from one's personal narrowness and constriction, in order to understand that leap of faith actually helps a person understand the generational or the collective liberation that's available and necessary in each generation, that in turns enhances a person's ability on the energy, by plugging into the collective exodus. It even deepens one's ability to liberate personally and to evolve to the next stage of one's growth. What does that mean? What is the operating principle here? How do you and I experience that in our lives? How does this make our presence at the Passover Seder so much more potent? What does the leap of faith actually mean? What's the power of the leap of faith? Sometimes we actually need to create for ourselves a mental construct of the vision, of the possibility that's available before we actually it becomes actually fully accessible to us. Often in the growth path, in the work people do, the work we do, you and I do on ourselves, what that looks like is we create an affirmation. There's a vision of a better state or a more evolved state that we may not experience, but we have a sense as a potential. And when we name it, that allows us to step into it, step up to it and fill it up and make that a new reality. So it takes a leap of faith. It takes an acting out. It takes saying, yes, I can. There is a place that's much more wholesome for me. I sense it and I want to name it. And that will enable me to move forward. I think the thing that's particularly different and important in what the Sefat Emet is saying is that we can't do this alone, especially the message in the Jewish path, that the individual cannot move ahead without the collective. The individual Jew or the individual man or woman of Israel cannot grow personally without the growth of the entire collective of Israel. So I think the value added, the uniqueness of this interpretation is, we started with two different comments in the Haggadah. One says that in the singular, that that I personally benefited from the leaving of Egypt, according to, this is a quote in Exodus chapter 13. But then it says, Lo tavotenu bilvad, af otanu, we were, in the plural, we were liberated. And this is based on a quote from Deuteronomy. And the Sefat Emet here is telling us, reminding us, that there's a liberation that happens, that needs to happen in each generation, that's unique to that generation. And the individual growth is dependent on the ability to plug in to that energy of the collective liberation. For instance, I'm thinking of the tension in Israel right now, where I just returned from. where the country is trying to decide if it's going to continue as a democratic country or as a more the kind of a dictatorship or a pseudo-democracy. And there's a liberation that needs to happen. The people need to find common cause in creating the Israel that's the most just, right, and the most egalitarian and the most working best for the freedom and well-being for everybody in the society. So there's a generational breaking of shackles, right? Fighting for one's freedom. And that's what it looks like in that generation. And personal growth can only come from, according to the Sefat Emet, from a vision of the possibility of it, a leap of faith that I am part of this, and also plugging into the collective liberation. That's how growth happens. So with that, we're going to complete here, wishing all of us an amazing Seder, an experience of not only a theatrical, sort of like what they call a psychodrama, the acting out of the good old days of coming out of Egypt and crossing the sea and saying no to the Pharaoh, but sinking into that in a way of personalization, in a way of, wow, there really is, I really am in my narrows. I recognize what those are. Whatever attitudes or habits or addictions or whatever it is for you, to say, yeah, this is where I need to open something up, a new vista, a new horizon for myself. And just like my ancestors did it way back then, I can do it for myself. And what is it that I'm plugging in? What kind of cause of social justice that I'm plugging in? What needs to happen in this generation? And how can I elevate both myself and the collective at the same time? So wishing you a very good Zisen Pesach, a sweet and happy Passover, and we will see you next time. Shalom for now.
Everybody, again, click subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that. Like to have that extra layer of connection with you. Like and subscribe. Come back.
Ayim rabim lo yuklu